Good morning. It's January 2nd, 2023. I hope that your 2023 is off to a brilliant and delicious start. I'd like to tell you a little bit about how my year began yesterday. So, about midday through the day, Saturday, I realized I may have picked up a bug. I was starting to feel a little congested, and a couple of my colleagues and friends have had stuff, and so I might have gotten it. But I don't know if you're like me, but I always try to, not give it much attention or pretend like I'm okay. I'm just gonna keep doing my thing. So yesterday, as the day progressed, I started to feel more and more of it, and I started to feel sorry for myself. So I was kind of lounging around and not doing much when I was asked to take a look at one of the toilets in my family home here. Wasn't flushing properly, and actually some water had come from the base of the toilet and was coming out across the floor. It was starting to get pretty bad. So I kind of cleaned up some of the water, and I thought, well, I'll take the toilet up and see what's going on. Plunging from inside the toilet didn't accomplish anything much. So when I got the toilet up, I had an experience that I will liken to a geyser of water coming up. And so I had to scramble and stuff something in there to stop it up. And after cleaning up some more water, which now was starting to go across the room to a degree that it could cause damage, I went outside and opened the cap for the sewer cleanout for that toilet. And similarly, a geyser of raw sewage coming up from the earth. So I'm letting that happen outside, which is a better place for it to occur. And then I kind of got a shovel and started like moving the water away from the foundation and the brick ledge of the house. So it took actually quite a while for all of the water that obviously had been under pressure to come up. And I worked with it for a while. And then, of course, I wish I had this whole thing videoed because it would be laughable. I wasn't laughing in the experience of it, but I can laugh about it looking back. But after I kind of got it to a point where it was under control, I decided, in fact, I do need a laugh. And so I came back in, and I don't know if you have go-to ways of getting into a lighter, more fun, how do I say, things that you can go to laugh. That's important to me. It kind of always has been. And so I love like old school comedy sketch shows like Carol Burnett. That's one of my favorites. Anything from the Carol Burnett show usually does it for me. I don't know if you've heard of Jiminy Glick. That's Martin Short's character, where he's like interviewing celebrities and mocking them. I really love everything Jiminy Glick. And you can find lots of Jiminy Glick sketches on YouTube. But then also a recent discovery, which is what I went to yesterday, is a YouTube channel called Smosh. And if you like to laugh and your taste is similar to mine in terms of what brings the laughter out of you, you might take a look at Smosh. It's a group of friends, colleagues, actors that there are different types of skits, but they have one show called Try Not to Laugh. And it's basically where each member of the cast has an opportunity to sit in a chair, and the rest of the cast tries to get them to laugh. And they have a mouthful of water that they try to hold in until, obviously, if you laugh hard enough, that's going to come out. So it's really great. Completely irreverent. They make fun of themselves. Very, very creative people on that. So you might take a look at that. if you're into that kind of comedy and laughter. So obviously that will be on my agenda for today, is to deal with the what I presume to be still stopped up waistline. I guess I'll get the roto-rooter out to see if they can clear it. Buddy and I have already been for our walk. It's a really wonderful morning here in north central Texas. Really mild. It's a little humid, but really mild out. So I went out in my t-shirt and it was a really nice walk. There, it's overcast, so I don't know. I want to relate this sensation to you all. When the clouds are low in the sky, it's like they reflect the light from civilization, from development, in such a way that it almost makes me feel like there's a ceiling on the world, in a way that you don't feel when the skies are clear. And I kind of got that sensation today. There's a sense of intimacy and coziness, and I like it. I mean, I like clear skies too, but I like kind of feeling that sensation of this plane up there that contains you. So today on my agenda, in addition to the roto-rooter inquiry, I have a few client projects that I'm working on, architectural projects. I'm going to flash up a rendering of one on the screen so you can see it. This is I'm really good at starting renderings and not really finishing them, but it'll give you an idea of it's kind of a really cool modernist addition to a historic home in this town where I live, Sherman. And some of you may look at this and think, well, why would you put something modern on something historic? It's a house built I think it's 1938. And so I'm gonna answer you and provoke you and ask you to think about this idea for a moment. There's some literature from the United States Secretary of the Interior and the preservationists and like the National Trust for Historic Preservation and those kinds of crowds. And it actually, the literature that you can get from the Secretary of the Interior comes from an international congress that was held to sort of discuss strategies for how to either modify or add to historic buildings and structures. And the inspired conclusion that they came to is that it's actually a more appropriate strategy to make the addition complementary, but not a copy of the original. So that when you're looking upon it, you can clearly differentiate what the original structure was relative to what's being added. And this is the most honest and, respectful way to make an addition to a historic structure. And if I think you'll agree, if you contemplate that, it completely makes sense. Like it's a little bit dishonest to try to completely copy and emulate what's there when it wasn't part of the original design. And I've had to run up against this because I've done several historic preservation projects, which I love. And I think it's really important. It's important to me that we make our historic neighborhoods relevant and that we encourage investment in historic structures, and that we try to go about doing those things in the most sensitive and appropriate way. So I'm working on that project today and have some ideas about it that I've been contemplating. It's going to be fun. As opposed to going out in the field when I'm not really feeling 100%. I don't want to press myself too much physically, although I did have a nice bicep workout this morning. So I think that's it. Thanks again for joining me. Have a really lovely January 2nd, and talk to you tomorrow.